Book Dragons. It is your girl Lindsay here with the Spine Bookshop with another episode of the Spine Bookcast Chronicles of a Bookstore. I am here with a brand new friend of mine from TikTok, Ginger Moon Witch. She's written the books 87, 72, and she's currently working on book 29. And I'm going to let her explain what those numbers mean to you later. Ginger, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get right into it. I'll get to the titles of your books here in a minute. How did you get into reading?
I started reading about almost 5 years ago, and I actually started reading on those apps where you have to pay for a chapter
Oh
because I
yeah.
found some on Facebook
Yep.
and got hooked.
Yeah. I know exactly what
Then,
you're talking about.
oh yeah, they're addicting.
They really are.
Oh yeah, but I found some of them started to get repetitive, so then I kind
Hmm.
of branched out.
Sure. What's your
Yeah,
favorite book right now?
pardon?
What is your favorite book right now?
Oh, that is a difficult question because I love so many.
Right.
Um, I would have to say probably the Ride or Die series by Lorna Beale
Okay.
or anything by Alina May.
Okay.
And well, my books as well, because I
Yeah, I
reread
was
my
gonna say, what about your books?
I reread my books. Like I write them, I edit them, and then I read them 3 or 4 times before they publish.
Sure. All right, well, let's talk about the because I know what your books are about, but I don't think other people are prepared for what your books are about, which I'm really excited about. Let's get into it. Let's talk about your books. How did you come up with the titles?
Okay, so the titles actually, I was sitting on video with my mentor. Her name's Ivy Graves.
Okay.
And I was saying, I'm struggling with this name. I don't know what to call this. And she said, tell me about it. So
Hmm.
I started to tell her about the book. And she said, what is the main female character's name? And I said, well, she doesn't have a name right now. She's just going by her farm ID, which is 87. And she said, that's your title.
There you
She
go.
was like, that sounds like a wicked title. Call her by the farm ID.
Okay, so now when you say farm ID, can you explain what that means? Because I've never read anything like this, so I'm very curious as to what people's reactions are going to be because I think it's fantastic. But go ahead. What does farm ID mean?
So the Alien Breeding Farm series is about a farm on a planet called Visva. And Visva is home to humans breeding farms.
Okay.
And basically, the planet just has a bunch of farms all over it. Other aliens come from all over Galandrian Galaxy to visit this farm.
Hmm.
The farm treats humans like cattle, like livestock. They auction them off, they put them in stockades, they pump them full of hormones. It's basically how we treat animals in today's society.
Mm.
That's how they're treating humans.
Okay.
They don't have numbers because they're not people to them,
Sure.
or they don't have names, so they just go by numbers.
Okay.
Because in their brain, the only thing that differs a human from an animal is the fact that humans can speak and have some sort of intelligence.
Okay.
But they look down on them because they're primitive and not like as technologically advanced and everything like that.
Sure. Sounds very Planet of the Apes almost, but like in a darker kind of way, which I love. How did you come up with this idea?
Well, that's a funny story, actually. I was actually writing a trilogy
Mm.
and I kind of burnt myself out and I had a lot of things going on that week and I might have went into a manic episode.
Sure.
Now, when I go manic, I do productive things like cleaning or writing, reading, stuff like that.
Okay.
And again, I was talking with my mentor, and she said, what is your brain saying right now? And I said, well, it's brain vomit. And she said, okay, let's write it down.
Yeah.
So I started writing down all my little brain vomit ideas, and Aliens Breeding Farm popped in my head. And we start talking back and forth, and I wrote the Dear Voyager letter, and I said, that's it, I'm going in. And I wrote half of the book in 24 hours because I did not sleep. And then I finished writing the other half the next day after a little nap. So 87 was wrote in 2 days.
That's incredible.
Well, draft one. Of course, there was tweaks and
Sure,
stuff like
sure.
that, but yeah, I wrote 87 in 2 days.
That's incredible. I love that so much. So, what has been the response to people reading your book?
Well, I've taken a lot of alien smut cherries. A lot of my ARC readers, it was their first time.
Wait, back up. Explain what that means.
It was their first time reading alien smut.
Okay, there
I
we go.
was their introduction to alien smut. So that's what I've been calling it. I took alien cherries. So
I love that so much. Hilarious. So let's get into what alien smut means exactly, because I want to make sure that people understand exactly what we're talking about here. So Ginger and I met on TikTok, and we become very, very good friends. And we talk about smut authors all the time and the books that we're reading and stuff. And so when we say alien smut, what we mean is she's written books about aliens in this breeding farm, and they have sex with humans.
yes.
Yes. Um, Now and correct me if my memory's not right. Did you commission a certain vibrating instrument to resemble one of the members of one of your characters?
Okay, so the vibrating schlong is for book two, and
Okay.
he is working on making the model, but you can buy the alien dingaling for book one and book two on his website.
I forget that you have the names too. So I love you so much. Ginger has all these names for certain anatomy. Give me some of those names because they're really funny, and I say it in the most loving way because it is so original.
Okay, in 87, you
Mhm.
will find that the bits have names like schlong, meat log, sausage. The lady bits can be called beaver, meat wallet, taco.
The
Like,
meat wallet
I didn't,
cracks me up.
well, you would probably like the one I used in 29 last night. She referred to hers as a hungry hippo, and it needs to be fed regularly.
I love you so much.
I write how I speak in real life because that's stuff I would like if I'm talking with my close friends. You've talked with me on
Yeah,
TikTok,
no,
that's just how I speak.
I
And
think it's fantastic. It is legitimately one of my favorite things about you is just you're very creative in the words that you use. And I really want to read the books now because they're just, I haven't had a chance to, but I just think that's one of the best things about you is your writing is very different. And I think that's fantastic.
well, one of my support people, she reads my raw documents, and she was reading it for 29 and came across Liquid Kids, and she cried for 10 minutes.
Love you.
Yeah.
Liquid kids. That's fantastic. That
I didn't want to use
with
the
those
basic
those
names.
sure. No, 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 absolutely. But how do you come up with like those terms? Like, is it just randomly pops out, no filter, or do you like actively sit down and think about it?
No, no filter. I have ADHD and a little bit of tism, and I just my brain's always running a mile a minute. I have a bunch of open tabs. My ducks are not in a row. I'm pretty sure there's like a rabbit tucked in with the ducks trying to pretend to be one.
Sure.
So I just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, I say that I don't have ducks in a row. I have squirrels are in and there to rave. So I completely get that.
Well, if you have squirrels, you can throw them.
We talked
Remember, it's only
about
a
that
$12
yesterday.
fine.
Um, when did you know that you wanted to be a writer?
Honestly, I'm still trying to come to terms with the fact that I am a writer.
Really?
Yeah, so back in January, I scrolled through a live and came across Ivy. And I was chit-chatting in her comments for a bit, and she pulled me up in a box and we just
Okay.
started talking. And I did that for 3 days. And on the
Sure.
third day, she said, "Why don't you write?" And I told her, I said, "I can't write." And she said, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, I said, I tried back when I first started reading. I
Sure.
got to 15 chapters and deleted it all." And she said, "Tell me about it." So
I
I
love
told
Ivy.
her about the book, and she was like, "Brainstorm it." She's like, "When you come back tomorrow, I want to see some brainstorming." So sure enough, the next day I popped in that live. I had a book brainstormed and up to chapter 4 written, and that was my trilogy.
I love her. I love Ivy so much. I've got to get her on this podcast. She's quite a miracle. I adore her.
Oh, I love Ivy. She's my foster daddy. That's what she calls herself.
That's so funny. It's so funny. I
Yeah.
was talking to Madam Butterfly about this, about how, everybody says that TikTok is this horrible, horrible thing. But when I think about TikTok, I think about all of you guys that I've met, like Tracy and Heather and you and Ivy and Mia and RB and everybody else that I've met. And it has become, it is one of the most welcoming groups that I've ever met in my entire life. Book Talk is incredible. What has Book Talk meant to you?
Well, it first started out as just a way for me to doom scroll and kind of escape my rapid brain. And then I started doing book talk to just talk about books and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then when I started writing, my page kind of switched from book reviews and stuff like that to my author stuff.
Okay. Um,
But
Go
to
ahead.
me, all the people I met on TikTok is like a big family.
It is, right?
Mhm.
Like some of them,
It's my
within
TikTok
driving
family.
distance are coming to my birthday party, for God's sakes. I mean, it is.
That's awesome.
I just, I mean, and like some of them that are on TikTok are reading my books as a beta reader. So, what would you say to people who continue to say that TikTok is bad and that it should be banned?
You haven't found the right group. You
Agreed.
haven't found your right people,
Yeah.
because once you find those people, once you find your group and your TikTok family, it's you don't look at it as bad anymore. That is, I look forward to going in people's lives, especially yours. I see you pop up.
Aw.
I'm like, "Oh, Lindsay's on." And I pop in.
I feel like mine are so boring because all we do is sit there and chit chat while I work all day.
No, because you let me body double.
Yeah.
I do my best writing when I body double, even if we don't talk. Like me and Ivy and my support person Piper, we will just sit on a video chat and we're dead silent. Piper does a reading sprint, me and Ivy do writing sprints, and
Mhm.
then we have a little chit chat and go back at it.
Yeah, and I mean it's helped me with my story that I've been writing, being able to go, "Hey, what does this sound right to you? Can I read this paragraph to you?" And I know Sam has done the same thing because she's been working on one of her
Mm.
books as well. And it's been this really awesome sounding board for writers and readers to just bounce stuff off. And like yesterday, I was having such a bad day, and you guys all picked me up and put me back in a really good mood, which was really awesome. And
Well, that's what we're here for.
well, exactly. It's just such a weird thing to be like, oh, I have these friends that are in Canada. I have these friends that are in LA. I've got these friends that are in, Wyoming or wherever. Have you ever met them? No, but it's like the online version of pen pals. Because I remember having a pen pal when
Exactly.
I was little.
Yes. And like Ivy's in Australia,
I do, which is amazing to me.
right? Now, I don't sleep at night usually anyway. I
Right?
sleep by taking naps during the day. So
Sure.
I
You
say
call
my
them
body's on
nappy naps.
Australian time. My little nip naps, my nappy naps.
That's what it is. You have a whole slew of, see, what did you call them?
Mhm.
Explain what it was again. It was nippy naps for naps.
Uh, Winkers. That's when I just sleep for under an hour. Those are like the quick little 10-20 minute naps. Those are my winkers.
Okay.
And then I have my nippy naps or my nappy poos. Those are between like an hour to 3 hours. And anything over 3 hours, I call that my coma because that means I'm having a good sleep.
Oh my God, I love it. And then
Because it doesn't happen often.
you call snacks sneaky snacks, is that right?
Yep. Snicky snacks
I
or
love it.
snick snacks.
You just every time that you're in a live and you talk, you have some new turn of phrase. I swear to God is like the best thing ever. It is one of my favorite things about you is because I'm always like, wait, what did you call that?
Well, right now I'm wearing my gym jams.
See,
That's my pajamas.
I love it. I love it. So, I mean, is that something that you've done your whole life?
Yes, I've done it my whole life. It's just in my brain.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah. Some people either, they love it or they hate it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what
So,
it is.
why a breeding farm? Like, what, like, getting back to your books, like, why a breeding farm?
Well, I've always loved Alien and monsters, and I ain't gonna lie, in my brain, it'd be hot as anything to just have an alien use me.
I love it. So, because I remember
Like
the first one I ever read was the one with the blue schlong. What was the one?
Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yes, it's so weird.
Now, a lot of people say that those are spicy, and I love them. I love the Ice Planet Barbarian series.
Sure.
It's cutesy. It has a little spice, but my books are spice over plot. But apparently, people are finding plot in them. And I asked what magnifying glass they're using to find the plot, but they found it.
I mean,
Um,
I think you have to have a little bit of plot in there somewhere.
the plot is getting her pregnant. That's the plot.
Okay. Now, why are they doing
Yeah.
it in the book?
Pardon?
Can you like go over the plot of like one of them a little bit without any spoilers or anything? Like, why are they doing this to humans?
Well, the thing is some species they want to interbreed or try and procreate. They also offer the humans just because, like, they were easy to capture.
Sure,
They are, um, they can breed with aliens. They've done a lot of testing on them, and they actually spliced the males to become omegas, so that some books will have empreg.
say that one more time. Everybody that listens to the podcast knows that train comes in here occasionally.
Yeah, some books will have empreg because they have genetically spliced the males.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So, yeah, it's like the Dear Voyager letter. If it's
Mhm.
your first time reading the Alien Breeding Farm series, I would recommend reading the Dear Voyager because you get to hear from the warden of Visva, and he goes over kind of what the farms is. It's like his little business pitch. Um, so it talks about like the humans and what they think of them and also different farms. So we have the auction farm, we have the stables, we have the tube farms, we have the brothels, and because some aliens they just want to have sex with a different breed, right? So they
Sure,
do offer brothels and sex clubs just for those aliens.
sure.
Now in 87 we meet Lumix. And Lumix simply wants children. He has a huge breeding kink. And
Okay,
he says, I could go find another alien, but that would mean work because then I got a date and all that. And he is the head of a weapons empire. So he's a weapons dealer for the galaxy. Now it's like legal weapons dealing.
sure.
And he was an only child, and he thinks that that's why he wants so many kids, because he was like lonely, even though his parents loved him and all that.
Sure.
So he goes to the farm solely to find someone to breed.
Okay.
And the farms offer party nights once a week and stuff. And at the party nights, they have an auction. So he decides to go to the mixer,
Mm.
and he checks out the auction, and that's where he finds 87. And the second he smells her and sees her, he's like, that's it. That's going to be my birther. Because that's what they call the the people that give birth. They call them birthers instead of like mother.
Okay.
They're birthers.
Love that.
So he's like, that's my birther. And, she's hopped up on the hormones and stuff. He
Sure.
spends a little night with her, and then he takes her home
Like he takes her back to the breeding farm or he takes her back to his house.
to his planet Morella.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So he bought her.
Okay.
He's
Got
like, that's it. She's mine. Purchased. Let's go.
okay.
There is a few chapters when they're in the ship having some wormhole hanky panky, because they're in the wormhole for a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, so we have some of that going on.
Okay.
Um, when she gets to Morella, she might be a little bit of a bad human, and she gets put in a lunar rotation long timeout. So that's like their version of weeks. They call it lunar rotations.
Okay.
But even though she's in the timeout, he still takes care of her, and he is trying to knock her up. So baby juices, you know,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
she's, yeah.
This is such an interesting concept. Like, what is it about alien stories that you like so much?
I think it's just because it's different.
Yeah.
And like all my schlongs are fancy, and all the dingle dongers are different. They're different colors. They got different aspects. Like Lumix has little bumps all over his, and his knob inflates like a knot. So
Is
instead of the
his
knot
the
being
one
at the
that
base,
vibrates? Because you said there's one
no,
that vibrates.
that's in book two. Because in
Okay.
book two, it's an MMF. Um, we have Kryzak and Zilthar, and Zilthar has the vibrating one.
That just cracks me up. That I just
Now, Lumix has
brilliant.
a vibrating tail.
That's just is brilliant. It's brilliant. Like, how did you come up with all of this?
Just my brain. It literally just popped in my head, and that's how my brain works.
It's brilliant. It really is.
Like, I have another project. I've only talked about it with my support people. I haven't started writing it yet, but it is in my word vomit book ideas. It's called Humans Anomnominous. And it's going to be an interconnected series of basically it's like an AA support group, but it's for forbidden flesh munchers. And it's going to be all of them once a week going to weekly meetings to have to talk about it. And it's going to be like a comedy, so like there's going to be a scene where he's like, I went 12 hours without munching, and I'm not proud of myself. And they're like, you know what, Dave, you did great, because last week you went 6 hours, so we're proud of you.
That is so
Right.
delightfully weird. I love it.
And like at the meeting, they're going to serve like, little cubes of human sushi. And there's going to be one that's like a germaphobe. I'm sorry.
No, that's so little cubes of that is so bizarre and fantastic.
Yeah. And
You
like
know what
one's going
it
to be a
reminds me
germaphobe.
of? It reminds me of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy where they do the restaurant at the end of the universe and the cow walks up and he's like, would you like my flank or would you like my hind quarter? And and then he's like, all you have to do.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what that reminds me of.
Yep.
So,
So I have not started writing Humans Anomnominous yet,
okay,
but I'm hoping to get to it soon. I am working. I don't have a title for it yet, but it's like a vampire, human, stalker, Stockholm kidnapping, pitch black, dark romance book that I'm working
sure.
on as I write ABF.
So what do you say to people who think that your stuff might be a little a little odd.
My book's not for everyone, but the people who like it will eat it up and leave no crumbs.
That's what you said yesterday when we were talking to somebody, and I can't remember who it was. We were talking to them, and she was nervous about, what if people don't like her book? And I remember you saying, your book it will find the people it's meant to be with. And I just thought that
Hmm.
was so profoundly cool. That's such a cool thing to say.
Yeah,
I
because
just,
not everyone wants to read about, the alien jizz launchers. That's just how it goes.
oh, I love you. I really do.
Right?
Like,
Not everyone wants vibrating tails or vibrating peens or,
yeah,
you know, they don't want schlongs that are ribbed for her pleasure. That's just how it is.
sure, sure. I just, it's such a bizarre subject matter in the most fantastically wonderful way. And it's very
Mm.
intriguing. And I think that you should just be famous because it's such an
Oh,
intriguing story. And everybody that has read it has said that they love your book so far. So I love that so much for you.
yeah, and now I've had a few like 3-star. I have one 2-star review.
Mm.
Um, it actually started as a 3-star, but then 5 days later she changed it to a 2-star. And when I do get low reviews, I like to message the person because I like honest reviews and I want to know
Sure.
what I can do to make the books better.
I love that you do that.
Like my beta team, when they get the raw document and get in there, I tell them if you have any suggestions, any ideas, throw it in the comments. We'll talk about it and I'll add it. Like I take all suggestions solely because I want to give the readers what they want.
Sure, sure. That's really interesting that you do that because I know that some people take the reviews and they don't love them. They don't, they get, take it personally offended, but you don't do that.
Well, did I cry when I saw the 2-star review? Yes. But did I go, what can I do to make this better? Yes.
Good.
That's
Okay.
again, my books aren't going to be for everyone.
Sure.
And I have to remind myself that.
Nice. I love that. So when is this going to be like a whole series for you of numbers?
Yes. So how I'm going to treat the Alien Breeding Firm series is, well, right now I'm kind of in the groove of writing them, so I have up to 10 planned right now.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm going to write 4 once I release 29. So I'll write book 4 while I write my Vampire Stalker one.
Okay.
And this series is just going to be continuous. I'm going to use it as like my writing palette cleanser. So if I'm writing a different book and I get burnout, I'm going to pop out an Alien Breeding Farm book, right? This series, the way I have it set up, I could write up to book 50 if I want to. This
Yeah.
series could go on for years to come.
I love that your alien smut is your palate cleanser. That's you are
Yeah.
you're like the most delightful person I think I've ever met. It's fantastic. So can you
Aw.
see your movies or your books being made into movies?
Okay, when people ask me that question, I say the only place my book is going to be a movie is on the PH website
Yeah, that's
because there's smut over plot. So
oh yeah, okay.
unless you just want to watch an hour and a half of aliens doing the shaducky ducky quack quack, it's not going to be in a theater.
Does the what now?
The shaducky ducky quack quack.
Oh my God. You just keep getting better and better. It's just you have a beautiful, beautiful ability to craft words into just very interesting phrases. And it's one of my favorite things about you. And I'm going to keep saying that because you constantly, I know that several of us, you'll say something and all of us will just straight pause and go, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
It's so fantastic. Oh God, I love it.
like life is short. You gotta make the jokes when you can. You gotta have fun.
Oh, absolutely. So
And
is
that took me a long time to realize.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. We were talking about this the other day. I wish that I could take the mindset that I have right now and like go back and there's certain things in life that I'm like, I would rule that if I felt the way I do now.
Oh yeah. I do the same thing. Or if something happens in my life, I'm one of those people that walk away and is like, oh, why didn't I say this? Why,
Every time.
and I'm cracking up laughing at myself.
Oh yeah, every time. Um,
Because you think my bits and stuff, like, are fancy, but my insults are just as good. Like, not that I insult people on a regular basis, but
sure,
if I
sure,
have
sure.
to, you know, I do. And I put a little bit of, pizzazz in there.
Well, I'm going to get into this too because I think that if your books were on a bookshelf, which they're going to come to my shop very soon, so you guys keep an eye out because we're going to have her in our shop soon. Um, do you obviously yours would get banned by Rutherford County, like without question, right?
100%.
And you guys have witnessed everything that I've been doing with the book banning. What is your thoughts on the book banning that's going on right now? And it's not just Rutherford County, it's all over the country. Like what is your opinion of what's going on right now?
What are they going to start banning next? Movies?
Yeah.
Like, books are how people learn. Like, yes, there's smut. Okay. Yes, there's fantasy and it's, fiction. It's not real. But they're banning books that are important to people reading. Like, okay, I don't know if it's true, but I heard they were banning the Hunger Games. Okay.
Oh
I
yeah, no,
think
they
they
did.
people need to read that because that's how we're heading in the direction of,
Yeah. Well, and they
right?
also
Or
banned The Handmaid's Tale, which is also where they're trying to head us in as well. Because legislation got
yes.
passed in Tennessee where they're talking, I can't remember what it's called, but their whole thing is that parent or teachers are now required to teach that the best path for life success is to go to college, get married, and have children.
What are we in the 1500s?
Yeah,
Are
exactly.
we going to have to go back to not able to show an ankle?
Well, and that's the thing too, is that like even Mike Rowe, who does the show Dirty Jobs, has said not everybody needs to go to college. Why don't you find a
No.
blue collar job, and
Trade schools.
yeah, trade schools are incredibly important. Like
Hmm.
our one of our past guests, Rob, he's a welder. I cannot imagine
Hmm.
cities without somebody being able to weld. And then you've got
See, they don't
plumbers.
understand.
Say that again.
Like, they don't understand until they get rid of it, because if they got rid of all the blue collar jobs, it's like,
Mhm.
or even just the fast food service, they say, oh well, you just work at McDonald's, blah 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 blah. Okay, well, who's going to make your burger at 3 in the morning if someone don't work there?
Who's going to fix your car? Who's going to come and take care of your plumbing? Who's going to take care of your electricity? And
Or cut your hair?
exactly, exactly. So, it's always curious to me when I talk to authors. I've had a couple say that they completely understand the book banning, and it absolutely floors me to pieces. What would you say to someone who wants to ban your books?
Well, I would simply give them a free copy and say, maybe if you read this, you'll be a little less bitchy.
Oh God, I love
You
it.
know, alien schlong might help boost up your mood, because
Maybe,
obviously you're missing something.
right?
So read this, use one hand, find yourself a buzz or go buy Lumix on the website and maybe you'll have a better mood afterwards.
Oh my God, that's like the best advice ever.
I actually said that to a family member. Be
And
like, well, I didn't say it to the family member, but they were saying that my books will never go anywhere. I'll never do it. They'll believe it when they see it.
mm,
And I, got on video with my mentor or my support person. And
mm,
I said, I'm tempted when I get the paper copy to just like slap it on the table and say, here, read this. Maybe you'll be less bitchy afterwards.
nice.
But I didn't, but I wanted to.
Oh God, the amount of stuff that doesn't come out of my mouth is it. I should get a some kind of award for the amount of stuff that I keep to myself. Yeah.
Hmm. I
Oh,
actually forgot to ask you what I was supposed to censor before we do
oh
this.
yeah, I don't do that here, so we don't.
Okay, perfect.
So what What are you reading right now that you're not writing? Like, is there anything that you're reading per se that you're just very curious and anything that you're enjoying?
Well, right now I am reading a series called The Syndicate Kings by Kate Oliver.
I think I
Um,
lost you. Hang on. Can you hear me?
yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yay, technology. Okay, so talk
Love it.
talk to me about what you're reading like right now. Like what kind of things are you reading?
Well, I usually read pitch black or dark romance. I am kind of doing a little bit of a palette cleanse. And I'm reading a series called The Syndicate Kings by Kate Oliver. Now,
I
when I
think
say
I've
this,
read
it
those.
is, yeah, so they are Daddy Dom books.
Yep, I've read those.
Consenting adults, nothing like what's been, the topic that's been going around lately. I'm not going to say any
Yeah,
names.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Nothing like that.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Um, it's solely, just women that like to age regress with coloring and stuff like that. And that's totally fine. Like,
yeah.
age regression is a type of trauma response. And I'll be honest, sometimes I like to just, sit and color and cuddle my stuffies. Like I have squishies all over my bed,
Mm.
right? It's soothing.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, are you looking at the amount of stuffed animals that I have in the bookshop? I mean, come on.
Oh,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, I will never not have a stuffy.
Oh,
So
always. Like I sleep with Esteban every night.
who is Esteban?
He is my squishmallow that is a giant vampire bat.
I love
I
you.
also have Kiwi the koala, Malfoy the griffin, Herb the
Wait,
turtle.
wait, 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 back
Uh,
up. You call the Griffin Malfoy?
yep, Malfoy.
Oh my, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's great. All right, so what else do you have?
I have a little alien named Vispa.
Okay,
And then I have Trevor the Triceratops,
nice.
Spots the little spotted leopard kitty. I
Okay,
have Horns, my little ram.
nice.
And I have Wasabi. And he's like this little blob.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that so much. Oh God, you are just a delightful person. Now, I just wow. So the cover of your books, can you talk to me about what those look like?
So the covers of my books have aspects of the main characters. So 87 has like a purple galaxy, with the title, which is the firm ID.
Okay,
And the background in 87 is green because that's the main female character's
okay,
eye color.
okay,
Um, if you actually look at my covers, there are two Easter eggs in my covers.
okay,
Well, one Easter egg and one pattern.
okay.
So in my covers, you will find the number to the second book in the cover.
Fun. Now I
Yes,
want to go. Okay,
and
now I want to go look at these books now.
of
So,
course,
yeah,
and also we have 87, 72, and then 29. So
yeah.
the last number in the book would be the first number in the next book.
Oh, that's so far out. Okay, so I'm looking at your cover. There it is. I'll be damned. That's so funny.
Yep.
That is
And the
hilarious.
same with 72. You'll
I'm
find
pulling up
it. And
72 now. So, oh wow. That is very clever.
nobody has found it on their own yet. I've had to tell people that there's an Easter egg.
There it is. That is so clever. How did you come up with
Mm.
that?
It was actually Ivy was making the covers for my books, and the font she was using for 87, the type of graffiti font, it had like the 7-2 already there. And I said to her, I
Okay.
said, did you mean to do that on purpose? And she said, no, that's just the font. And I said, well, you just gave me my next book title.
That's
So now we make sure to hide a number in all the other covers.
that's really smart. That's really clever. And I don't think I would have picked that up unless you had said something. I think it probably would have taken me a minute. Oh, I love that so much. Um,
Yeah.
that's really clever. God, that's clever. Um, so when Ivy first read your first book, what did she say?
Ivy hasn't fully read my first book because she helped me edit,
What?
so she just skimmed through it.
I'm gonna have to give her a mountain of grief for that.
Oh, no, no, it's all good. But no, from what she read, she liked it. She reads all my feedback, and I do talk to her about the book. So it's like she
Sure,
read it because I go into detail and I read her the stuff as I'm writing it and stuff like that.
sure. No,
Her and Mr. Graves have been so supportive.
okay. I love that.
Like, I love it.
Um, have you ever thought about having like a release party or anything like that?
Well, actually, that got brought up to me last night because I don't get a lot of people in my lives, so I never really thought of doing it. But 72 does come out on the 18th of April, so I am thinking of maybe doing a little TikTok live release
You
party on that day.
should. Oh my God, you should.
Yeah,
That would be so cool. I would love to do that with you. That would be so awesome.
yeah, I think it'd be cool, you know.
I think that'd
Would
be.
you like to hear about 72?
Oh yeah, no, I want to hear about all of it. Let's have it.
So 72 is about an alien couple named Kryzak and Zilthar.
How do you, I'm going to
Um,
pause you right there. How do you come up with these names for characters?
my brain.
Your brain is brilliant. So,
I
okay,
just put letters together and it pops out.
love it. All right, go ahead.
So they've been together 10 rotations, which is years,
Okay.
and Zilthar wants a family. Now,
Okay.
Kryzak, he wants to be a father, but he's content just with Zilthar, but he will give his sweet baby angel boy anything he wants. He would rip his heart out of his chest for this man.
Oh,
But Kryzak is a sadist. So he simply wants the human as a toy to release his inner demons on because he doesn't want to do that to Z.
okay.
So Z is a pleasure dom
Okay.
and Kryzak is a sadist. So a little teaser, there is a scene where Zelthar says, "Shush, sweet female, I'll make you feel good." And then later, like a few paragraphs later, Kryzak says, "I could snap your fucking neck and not lose a cycle of sleep."
Wow.
So we have the push and pull, right?
Sure.
It is not
Sure.
a happy ever after like 87. It is a happy for now situation
Okay. Okay.
because Kryzak breaks her down.
Okay.
It's more dark than 87. There is there's fancy showers,
Oh,
bodily showers in this book.
okay.
Um, there's chastity cages in this book. Um,
Now
there's
explain, and
also
I'm
a
fairly certain I know what this is, but explain to me what a chastity cage is.
so a chastity cage. Usually it's for the peens, but you can get some for the beavers. And it basically just locks up the bits so that they can't access and give themselves
So,
pleasure. So
okay, a
Kryzak
chastity
controls
belt.
it. Yes,
Okay, gotcha. Okay. I was like thinking
I
like
call them
cage.
cages.
Okay. Nope. Okay, got it.
Well,
Okay.
there is cages in this book too. 72 does end up in a cage.
Okay.
So, there's also a intense trauma after childbirth scene.
Okay.
Um, Now I don't put a giant list of trigger warnings at the beginning of my book. I do have the trigger warnings listed in the feature section on my Facebook page,
Sure.
but I find sometimes if you open the book and see the list of triggers, it just ruins the book. So my warning, I do have a warning that says if you have triggers, my series might not be for you.
And
And it also says not all the books are happy ever afters.
I love that. Let's talk about that trigger thing, because that's something new, I think, that's happened in the last, I don't know, 10 years maybe, with authors putting trigger warnings in the beginning of the chapters. And so I
Yeah.
think you have to be very, very careful about that, because I started reading one, which I will not mention, because I don't want to
Hmm.
drag the author or anything like that. That book was
No.
for me. But it has very graphic SA scenes in the beginning of the book, and I
Hmm.
was not prepared for that. And the warnings were
Hmm.
not accurate in the description of what was coming. And so I think it's very interesting that you don't do that. And some authors are very explicit in what you're getting ready to read, right? How
Hmm.
important do you think that those are now as a trend in writing with various subject matter? How important do you think trigger warnings are now?
Well, it depends. Like, okay, so again, I broadcast my books as very dark sci-fi.
Okay,
Okay, if you have a trigger, you're not going to read my books anyway because you're going to find a trigger in one of them or all
okay,
of them.
sure.
That's actually the 2-star review I got. It says, that it's dubious consent or non-con at the beginning, and then she said, but that's to be expected. If that's what you expect, why did you read it if you don't like that, if you already expected it,
Hmm.
right? Because again,
Great
the
point.
humans aren't willingly at this farm, okay? So it's bound to have some of that. And there is 72 does have a bit more dubious consent non-con, especially the intense after childbirth scene. There
Okay,
is some so if that now the whole book isn't that though. Okay.
sure.
There might be a couple scenes, but it does go to consensual as well. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
okay.
But again, this is important because remember how I said that my books are basically how we treat animals in real life? Think
Yes.
of the horse stud farms. Like, yes, it's an animal, and yes, but they give that animal hormones to turn it on. You know what I mean? A lot of like animal breeding farms, not, a lot of the time, yes, the animals go in heat, but they take advantage of that and they
Yeah,
just
yeah,
throw the
yeah.
males in and go, right?
Mm,
So it's just kind of like the same aspect in my brain.
okay.
And that's just, it's hard to explain, but I hope I'm doing a good job at,
No, no, no,
you know,
I get what you're saying. I'm from walking horse country, so I totally get what you're saying. So,
yeah. And like I said, I do have my triggers up on a featured page on my Facebook for people who do need them.
sure.
Um, but I think that the triggers started to like not only does it give away parts of the book, I found some authors were just putting random triggers in to try and like catch people's attention. And then that thing was only in it for like 2 paragraphs or something,
Sure.
or it wasn't really in the book. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I
I
do.
picked up a I picked up a book that told me it was a primal price book, and there was one primal scene in it,
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
but it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I just, in my little, warning disclaimer, I tell them, not all books are happily ever afters. If you have a trigger, my book or series might not be for you,
Right. And I think that's
you
really
know,
smart.
because like it all started when the Krakens, I'm sorry, Karens started to get all sensitive.
Sure. No, I agree.
Right. That's just, they read one thing and they bash the book. And again, not every book is going to be for you. Just
Right.
because you didn't like it doesn't mean other people aren't going to like it.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, on that note, we are about to run out of time. I appreciate you so much coming on to the show today and talking about your alien smut. You are one of my favorite people because you are just very clever, and I can't wait to have time to read your books because I'm really interested in reading these books. It's going to be a different kind of thing. So,
No, thank you so much for having me on your little podcast. I really do hope you read the books eventually
oh yeah,
because you
no.
will like the terminology.
Oh, I love it. I
Like,
can't wait.
you'll
Well,
have a
thank you
laugh.
so much, you guys. Thank you so for listening. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe, and we will see you next week. Bye.